Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, a queen sat sewing at an open window during a winter snowfall. She pricked her finger with her needle, and 3 drops of red blood fell onto the freshly fallen white snow on the black windowsill. She said to herself,
"How I wish that I had a daughter with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony."
Sometime later, the queen's wish came true. She gave birth to a beautiful baby daughter, whom she named Snow White. Contrary to some versions of the tale, the queen did not die during childbirth but continued to live, watching Snow White grow in beauty and grace. As Snow White's beauty blossomed, the queen's vanity and jealousy grew.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
You, my queen, are fair, it's true, but Snow White is even fairer than you.
When Snow White turned 7, her beauty surpassed that of her mother, giving the queen a great shock. Envious, the queen ordered a huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and kill her.
"Bring me Snow White's lungs and liver that I may feast upon."
The huntsman took Snow White into the forest. As he raised his dagger, Snow White realized her mother's plan and tearfully begged,
"Please don't do this. Let me go and I'll disappear into the forest forever."
The huntsman, moved by her plea, agreed to spare her and brought the queen a boar's remains instead. After wandering through the forest, Snow White discovered a tiny cottage belonging to 7 dwarfs. She ate some food, drank some wine, and slept in one of the beds. When the dwarfs returned, they found Snow White and listened to her story.
"My mother tried to kill me. May I stay with you?"
"Yes, but you must cook our meals and keep our house tidy and let no one in while we are away."
Snow White lived safely with the dwarfs until one day the queen asked her mirror again.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who now is the fairest one of all?
Snow White, who lives beyond the 7 hills with the 7 dwarfs, is the fairest.
Furious, the queen decided to kill Snow White herself. First, she disguised herself as an old peddler and offered Snow White a laced bodice.
"Try this beautiful bodice, dear."
The queen laced it so tightly that Snow White fainted, but the dwarfs returned just in time to loosen the laces and revive her. Next, the queen disguised herself as a comb seller.
"Take this lovely comb."
The queen presented Snow White with a beautiful comb, convincing her to use it. The comb was poisoned, and as soon as it touched Snow White's hair, she fell to the ground, unconscious. When the dwarfs returned home, they found her lying lifeless on the floor. Noticing the comb in her hair, they removed it, and Snow White regained consciousness.
Remember, never accept anything from strangers.
Finally, the queen disguised herself as a farmer's wife and offered Snow White a poisoned apple.
"See, I will eat half of the apple to show you it's safe."
Snow White hesitated, but when she saw the queen eat half of the apple, she took the other half and bit into it. The poisoned apple caused Snow White to fall into a deep coma. The dwarfs, unable to revive her, placed her in a glass coffin. Snow White lay in the glass coffin for a long time. The prince, who had become enchanted by tales of her beauty, discovered her during a hunting trip and begged the dwarfs to let him take her to his castle.
"She is so beautiful. May I take her to her proper resting place?"
The dwarfs agreed. After a while, the prince becomes so obsessed with Snow White that he carries her coffin wherever he goes, until one of his servants, in anger, lifts Snow White from the coffin and strikes her on the back, causing the piece of apple to come out of her throat, causing her to revive. The prince is overjoyed with this miracle, and he declares his love for the now alive and well Snow White, who, surprised to meet him face to face, humbly accepts his marriage proposal. The prince invites everyone in the land to their wedding, except for the queen. The queen, thinking Snow White was dead, asked her mirror again.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?
A bride of a prince is the fairest.
The queen went to the wedding and was shocked to see Snow White. The prince recognized the queen as a threat.
"She must be punished for her crimes."
The queen was forced to wear red-hot iron slippers and dance until she died. Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after.